A lot of you out there still think the Jougan is just some filler nonsense from the anime. Something Kishimoto just threw together at the last minute to help the Hokage's son stand out. You probably believe Kawaki is the ultimate villain, and Momoshiki is just a parasite waiting for his moment to strike. But what if I told you that the whole time you've been looking at the stage decorations without even noticing the actual play? What if the only way to save the world is to destroy the very concept of being a shinobi? Definitely hit that like button and stick around until the end of the video because this is going to get really interesting. Today we're going to uncover a mystery that the authors have been hiding behind the curtain of omnipotence. We're going to break down why the Byakugan in the recent chapters is actually a death sentence rather than a power-up, and how Boruto plans to outsmart a literal god living inside his own head. How do you defeat a god when he can see your every thought? Quick heads up guys, I've officially started my most ambitious project yet, Boruto. This is a weekly series where we're rewriting the foundation of the shinobi world from the ground up. If you're tired of plot holes and want a story that actually follows the rules of the canon, this is for you. Episode 1 is already live, so make sure to check it out after this video. Now let's jump straight into today's breakdown. Let's start with the hottest topic right now, the events of the recent 2 Blue Vortex chapters. We finally got confirmation of what everyone was afraid of. Boruto and Momoshiki's souls have become one. This isn't just a roommate situation like Naruto had with the Nine Tails. This is diffusion at a quantum level. Momoshiki sees everything now, every doubt, every fear, and every single one of Boruto's plans. And that's when our hero makes a bold gambit. He offers to give Momoshiki his body in exchange for defeating Jura. It sounds totally insane at first glance, right? But there's a genius trick hidden here. Can Boruto actually lie to Momoshiki? A direct lie is impossible. That means Boruto has to be 100% sincere in his desire to give up his body. My theory involves a split between thoughts and intentions. I'm convinced that Momoshiki and Boruto aren't constantly synced up in their thinking. I think Momoshiki just checks whatever he needs from the memory bank. Boruto is a master of adaptation, a new generation of trickster. When he tells Momoshiki, "Help me and the body is yours," he isn't lying in that moment. At that exact second, his mind is laser focused on one thing, destroying the threat that is Jura. He is genuinely willing to do whatever it takes. Momoshiki, reading that impulse, sees nothing but pure resolve. But here's the secret. Boruto doesn't have a file in his head containing a betrayal plan because he hasn't actually decided how he's going to do it yet. He's putting his trust in his future self and his friends. It's a blind spot strategy. He's leaving the final decision for the moment the battle ends. Since that final intention hasn't been formed yet, Momoshiki can't see it in the general flow of consciousness. Isn't that just brilliant? We now have 2 players in the story who can see the future, Kashin Koji and Momoshiki with his divine prophecy. We need to understand the difference between them so we don't get lost in the plot twists. Kashin Koji sees possibilities. His power is a shinjutsu that analyzes the probabilities of the future. It's like a supercomputer calculating millions of outcomes. But the slightest change in the present can make the whole forecast crumble. Koji is the star of change, and his job is to find that one tiny path through a forest of deadly threads that leads to safety. Momoshiki, on the other hand, is on a completely different level. His prophecies are fixed points. He predicted that Naruto wouldn't be able to pass on his power and would lose Kurama. He predicted Ida's blue eyes would take everything away. These aren't probabilities. This is fate standing outside of time. So what happens if Boruto awakens Momoshiki's Byakugan and sees the future himself? If Koji sees a destroyed Konoha as a possible ending, Boruto might see it through the Byakugan as an inevitable fact, knowing the future is a trap. And that's exactly where the third power comes in, a power that sits above fate and above probability. This brings us to the most exciting part of my theory. Why does Boruto have the Jougan in the prologue of chapter 1 rather than Momoshiki's Byakugan? The Byakugan represents a cage in genes. Let's face it, the Byakugan in Boruto's body is the mark of the beast. It's a symbol of Momoshiki taking control. It's the eye of a parasite. When we see it in recent chapters, it's an alarm bell. Momoshiki is showing his true nature. He's almost at his goal. The Jougan, however, is Boruto's own innate power. We know it's linked to Shibai, the Otsutsuki god who ascended to another dimension. If karma is the key to Otsutsuki power, the Jougan is the blueprint for the entire building. The Jougan will serve as a tool for purification. Boruto won't kill Momoshiki because they are one entity. The death of one is the death of both. Instead, he will use the pure eye to literally rewrite the data in his own body. Think back to Kawaki. He lost Ishiki but kept his powers and karma. Boruto will do the same thing but much more elegantly. The Jougan will allow him to erase Momoshiki's personality, and will leaving behind only the pure Otsutsuki energy. This explains why in the future, Boruto can use karma perfectly while still being himself. He's evicted the tenant, but kept the keys to the apartment. Many people draw parallels between Naruto and Boruto, and it makes sense. Naruto and Sasuke met Hagoromo in their subconscious. Boruto, however, is headed for a meeting on a completely different scale. Even if Momoshiki takes control for a while, Boruto's consciousness won't die. He'll descend into the abyss, into a space outside of time, and there he will encounter the residual will of Shibai. Shibai isn't going to just hand Boruto a new power. That would be too easy and feel like a cheap plot device. No, Shibai will help Boruto realize that the Jougan is a piece of divinity that was already inside him from birth. It will be a moment of self-discovery. Shibai will explain that the Jougan sees the truth, a truth that even the Shinjutsu omnipotence cannot distort. Let's look closer at the conflict between the Jougan and Ada's abilities. It's the perfect conceptual showdown. Ada's omnipotence is a reality filter. It forced the entire world to believe a lie. The shinobi didn't just forget the truth, their brains actively fight against any evidence to the contrary. It's an informational prison. Why is the Jougan the solution? We've seen in the anime how the Jougan can spot distortions in space and negative chakra. Omnipotence is also a global distortion. The Jougan simply ignores that filter. My theory is that Boruto will use the Jougan to show the truth to others, similar to a genjutsu dimension. Not by using words that no one believes, but by projecting his memories directly into people's minds, literally burning through the false connections Ida created. Toneri didn't call this eye the light that will disperse the darkness for nothing. The darkness is a world living in a lie. The light is the return of reality. To understand how high the stakes are, we have to look at the enemy standing right in front of us, the Shinju, the sentient incarnations of the Ten Tails. Why did Jura, Hidari, and the others gain self-awareness right now? My theory is that this isn't just a random glitch in the tree's evolution, but a direct result of the soul diffusion we talked about earlier. If Boruto is merging with Momoshiki, then the Ten Tails, by consuming shinobi, is merging with their fundamental essence. And here's the most terrifying parallel. Jura isn't just a leader for the tree clones. He's a distorted reflection of the search for the meaning of life. Notice that their main goal isn't just to eat Boruto or Kawaki for a chakra fruit anymore, it's knowledge. Hidari is drawn to Sarada because Sasuke's loyalty to his daughter is written into his code, but it's not love, it's a hunger for identity. This is where Boruto's Jougan becomes more than just a weapon. It becomes the only tool for classifying existence itself. If the Byakugan sees the chakra circulatory system, I believe the Jougan sees the architecture of the soul. The Shinju are empty shells that have stolen someone else's blueprints. They are trying to mimic humanity but remain parasites. Boruto is doing the opposite. He is Otsutsuki by flesh, but human by spirit. The conflict with Jura is a battle between the original and a defective copy. Jura claims his knowledge and instincts make him a superior being, but Boruto knows that a shinobi's true strength isn't in stored chakra, but in the ability to keep yourself intact even when your genes are screaming at you to submit. Let's dig deeper into the Otsutsuki instinct. We're used to thinking of the Ten Tails as just a tool or a pet for the gods. But what if the evolution of the Shinju in Two Blue Vortex is the planet itself trying to create antibodies against the invaders? It's ironic, isn't it? To defeat the Otsutsuki, nature is creating beings that copy their methods but use the memories and pain of the greatest shinobi. This turns the battlefield into an existential nightmare. When Boruto looks at Hidari, he doesn't see a monster, he sees a code error of his master, and the Jougan allows him to see that thin thread still connecting Sasuke's soul to that wooden body. I'm convinced that Boruto's mission will ultimately come down to surgical separation. With the Jougan, he won't just destroy the Shinju, he'll have to extract the swallowed souls without damaging them. That's a job for a god, not a warrior. And Momoshiki inside him will be laughing the whole time because he thinks Boruto's compassion is his greatest weakness. Momoshiki sees the Shinju as an evolutionary dead end. Boruto sees them as a chance to save the people he loves. This brings us to the concept of the void. If Shibai Otsutsuki reached godhood by discarding his physical body, the Shinju are trying to reach it by consuming other people's identities. These are two opposite paths. Boruto is right in the middle. He has the Otsutsuki body and Shibai's potential, but he rejects the void and chooses connections. This is the paradox that neither Kashin Koji nor Momoshiki can account for. Koji calculates probabilities based on logic. Momoshiki sees fate based on Otsutsuki laws. Neither of them accounts for the irrationality of a human heart that can rewrite the code of reality simply because it refuses to give up. When Boruto uses Rasengan Uzuhiko, he isn't just using chakra, he's using the rotation of the planet itself, its life force. This shows he's already starting to sync with the world on a level beyond any normal shinobi. He is becoming the Earth's immune system. Now imagine what happens when that immunity hits the system of world control built by humans and gods over thousands of years. The Shinju are just the first wave, a symptom of the disease. The real tumor is the cycle of hatred and power lust now backed by divine technology. Boruto is forced to play the villain in the eyes of the world to save the world from itself. It's the ultimate form of self-sacrifice, even beyond what Itachi Uchiha did. Itachi sacrificed his clan for his village. Boruto is sacrificing his name, his family, and his very humanity for the survival of the species. His Jougan isn't a curse or a gift, it's a burden. It's the eye that has to watch the old era die to give a new one a chance to be born. But can he keep his balance when his own memories start feeling foreign? When the line between I am Boruto and I am Otsutsuki finally disappears? The answer lies in how he interacts with those around him. Notice how eerily calm Boruto has become in recent chapters. It's not the calmness of power, it's the calmness of someone who has already seen the end of his story and accepted it. He's no longer running from fate. He's walking right toward it with his hand on the pulse of the universe. When the final battle comes, the Jougan won't just activate, it will become a mirror where Boruto's enemies see their true selves. The Shinju will see their emptiness, and Momoshiki will see his defeat. The world of shinobi isn't just falling apart because of gods, it's falling apart because of people. This is one of the strongest parts of Two Blue Vortex. Shikamaru is playing a very dangerous game right now. He's the Hokage, even if temporarily, but he's dependent on the daimyo and the land of fire. If the government finds out Shikamaru is secretly working with a criminal like Boruto, Konoha's funding will be cut off. Konoha would be left without resources, surrounded by enemies, all while a conspiracy from the Kara organization brews inside the government. It's the perfect storm. The destruction of the village we see in the prologue might not just be from a battle. It could be the result of a total political and economic collapse of the shinobi system. Kawaki, in his radical desire to protect Naruto, might decide the era of shinobi has to end because it's that very system that keeps putting the seventh life in danger. And we're not just talking about Konoha, we're talking about the whole planet. In the first chapter of Boruto, Kawaki says, "I'll send you where I sent the seventh." We used to think that was a death threat, but now we know Naruto is alive in the Daikokuten dimension where time doesn't flow. This supports my theory about purification. In the future, Kawaki isn't trying to kill Boruto to save the world from Momoshiki anymore because Momoshiki is already gone. Boruto has already purified himself. The conflict in the future is a clash of two philosophies. Kawaki wants to lock away everything dangerous, including Boruto, in a pocket dimension to bring about an eternal if stagnant peace. Boruto, as a true shinobi, chooses the path of struggle and freedom even if it's full of pain. You know, looking at Boruto's entire journey, it's actually incredibly sad. Naruto fought for recognition, but Boruto is fighting just to not be forgotten, to keep his identity from being erased by divine powers or collective madness. I believe Kashin Koji will sacrifice himself to give Boruto the chance to activate the Jougan. His death will be the trigger, just like Jiraiya's death was for Naruto. The star of change will go out so that the star of hope can shine. Boruto will become a true Otsutsuki, a being with divine power but with the heart of a human and the will of a shinobi. He won't just defeat his enemies, he'll rewrite the rules of the universe where fate no longer calls the shots. But what do you think? Do you believe Boruto can truly get rid of Momoshiki's influence, or are they destined to coexist forever? Is the Jougan the key to undoing Ida's omnipotence, or do the authors have an even bigger twist waiting for us? Definitely let me know your theories in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more theories like this, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.